In Britain today, there are more people than ever that are reliant on food banks and are struggling to feed their families and keep up with the ever-increasing cost of living, and energy prices are at an all-time high. We spoke to Kenny Arnold about the amazing work that the community-run group People for People do that he coordinates. So how long have you been running People for People, Kenny?
So I started People for People in June 2015. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of 6.5 years in. It was largely done because as a hairdresser gives you a strange advantage in knowing what's going on. Mm-hmm. And you sort of know by about October what the in-Christmas present's going to be. You sort of know what the hot holiday location's going to be. And that year, with our ears to the ground, as we are as a hairdressing salon, it was just difficult stories. It was just coming in waves.
Hearing what happened to people,
And I think the other thing is rather than, like my job gave me brilliant insight. Instead of reading about a knackered nurse or a mum having trouble with a benefit, we were talking to them.
So is this what motivates you ultimately to do what you do? You're hearing this on a daily basis.
So I heard that, I think one particular week I just had nothing but these stories, and I just thought to myself, well, somebody's got to do something about that. And then there's a great little meme that goes on where you say, well, somebody's got to do something about that, and then you realise that you are somebody and you can do it. It was a big moment,
which is amazing.
I think I said to a friend about it, so I want to do something like this, and they just said, well, do it then.
So the big question then really is, what is going on with Britain's benefit system today? What do you feel about that? How do you feel?
The first thing to say about anything to do with the people, the working people of this country, is that with all the budget slashes that have been going on in mental health and all the cuts you get to services, is that never ever, looking at the big picture, forget that there is plenty of money. That's the key. That's why it can sound very reactionary to call it class warfare, but actually there is one class in this country that's getting poorer and poorer, and their services are getting cut, and there's another class that are getting richer. That's a fact.
That's happening.
That's not conjecture.
That's real.
That's really real. That's really happening. Figures bear that out.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening is that there's plenty of money in this country, and it's never been about money in terms of things like austerity that the Tory government have been doing for the last 11 years. Mm-hmm. It's not about money, it's about the will. There is no will to fix people's lives. The idea of people going into government or being in any sort of job, if you see a social worker, they didn't fall into it after working at Tesco's. They have a desire to change lives.
To make a difference.
I guess that may have happened with politicians at some point, but it certainly isn't true anymore. It's about changing their own lives. And as I say, it can sound a bit trite, and it can sound a bit like, oh, this guy's, is just saying stuff. But figures bear it out now. Poor people are getting poorer, rich people are getting richer. So when it comes to the benefit system in this country, there is undoubtedly a failed system that keeps people within a poverty trap.
So thinking about that, what projects do People for People support? What do you think makes a difference in that respect? What are you doing? What do you feel you need to do?
Well, the first thing is to make people realise that without community, without us, you've got no chance. Because the bottom line is that People for People does care. We have 400 odd patrons of the page that allow me to give me money every month to support projects that do that. Those people do care, and that's why we get people from, like I say, trying to work a government system that doesn't work for them. One of the best things is when I get people that are new to a government system. I say the best thing, it's the worst thing. And they say, it doesn't actually pay me enough money to do what I have, to have what I have. For example, the latest £20 cut, there was a lady that wrote to me and she'd budgeted her money out and she had like £6 a week left over. And so they're taking 20 a week. So it leaves her in a minus, right? Yeah. So then there are people that say to me, and they'd say it with real honesty and human compassion, say, well, that can't happen. You can't have a minus.
But it is happening.
But it is happening. Yeah. That's what it is.
So when these restaurants in our local area, Tapas Bar and Willow's Cafe,
When they're doing what they do, what do you think that makes to a person that is only, that is in that £6 negative, and they've got to give that money? Yeah,
it's enormous. I mean, one of the things that we try to do is we try to bring it home to the people that this is happening.
Yeah.
It can happen to you very, very easily.
Yeah.
And so what we try to do is we try to make sure that people understand that with just the small things. Like I have this dream of a collective. That's what People for People is.
Yeah.
It's my absolute dream of a collective society where anybody puts in a little bit and gives it to those that most need it, right?
Yeah.
Not the fat cats, not the big guys, but it gives it to the people that most need it. So when you get restaurants like the Brilliant Willows Cafe and always Bar de Tapas, Rob, always the same people.
Amazing,
Lavish have been wonderful as well.
Mm.
When they give food like that, when they put stuff forward, even just having like a couple of meals covered in the week, if we're talking about a £6, £5 deficit, it's covered. Yeah. So to some people it means everything, absolutely everything. What we do as patrons as well, we give food vouchers, People for People, which is paid for by the community.
Yeah.
And what we do is we make sure we can send. I get people can write to me, and I can send them out food vouchers for Sainsbury's, £25 food vouchers, absolutely no problem. There's also the brilliant Food Rescue Hub, which I know you came down and visited us at, which allows you to have different types of food if you're using the food bank.
Yeah.
But where are we in this country? Where are we when we got to 2021 and we're talking about people in starvation? One of the Conservative MPs described food banks as uplifting.
There are 2,000 food banks in Britain. The lion's share are run by the Trussell Trust. Around 800 are independently run. They give out 2.5 million emergency food parcels over the last year, and this food bank in Stevenage, the Vineyard Church, they give out over 400 food parcels monthly. This really does make a difference to the people of Stevenage.
I'm often praised for People for People, and people say wonderful things about it, and I'm immensely proud of it. But People for People is a failure of politics.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be People for People.
The people of Stevenage really do show community spirit and know how to come together to ensure no one this winter goes without a meal on their table. From the food banks to the restaurants that supply hot meals, along with the families that are in difficulty, what this shows is there is a benefit crisis going on in Britain, and that it is down to the community to bridge the gap. This is Kathleen Duval reporting for Middlesex University.